So that is self-honesty. Is self-honesty is to, well, and then how to correct myself in self-honesty. The self-correction is where I see where I've allowed myself to run on that program, for instance, the experience of hesitation, and then stop within it and stand up to it and apply self-forgiveness to release myself from that hesitation so that I will no longer experience that hesitation. And that is how I transcend the hesitation, and that is how this is practical. That is how self-forgiveness is practical, and how it is able to be applied to each and every single specific little detail and construct within me. And each of us is the same. Each of us is the same. Each of us is who we are within the personality. And each of us is able to stop and look at the personality that we have allowed ourselves to define ourselves as and experience ourselves as. And then the choice is experience myself as who I really am, or continue to experience myself as a program, as a personality. So ponder that one, because even as I sit here on this ferry boat, having made the decision to be self-honest and correct myself instead of submitting to the hesitation and going into a loop just to experience that same hesitation over and over again until I stop and correct it. Just having made that decision to stop and correct that hesitation, release myself from that hesitation, I see and feel the release. Because it is only I that is able to, it is only me here that is able to release myself from those constructs, release myself from those limitations and the hesitation. And within that program, that personality, is where all the fear exists, all the inhibition, all the limitation, all the doubt. It's all in the personality that we've defined ourselves to be. I see that in me, and so I say it to you. And I'm able to apply myself effectively to transcend those things so that I may no longer exist within limitation. Because why should I choose to limit myself? The only reason I would choose to limit myself is out of fear. Fear of change, fear of letting go, fear of my own, fear of the unknown. Because all we've ever known is our personality. But what if we let go of our personality? We might see and realize for ourselves who we actually are, and that we're not a program. We're not a character, a personality. And what if that personality, consisting of all the memories, that self-identity, your name, your memories, your relationships, your past, the image of yourself within your mind, all of those things, what if that dissolves in death? What remains? And why do we believe that we're not able to experience ourselves as what remains here in this life? The only thing that keeps us from realizing that we are able to experience ourselves as who we really are, and the fullness and the totality of who we really are in this life, is the fear. Fear of change, fear of letting go, fear of loss, fear of losing the personality, losing what we have been. But I am not what I have been, because I am here in this moment. And in this moment is where I am able to look at myself in self-honesty and see what I have created myself to be and define myself to be as a self-identity, as a personality, and then make the decision to either continue to exist in that personality, which since I'm able to observe, I see that it is not actually who I am. I can either make the decision to continue running on those programs within me, or I can make the decision to stop and release myself from that program entirely, to delete that program entirely. But I cannot delete it by simply becoming aware of it. I must apply myself effectively to each point. And that is where self-forgiveness comes in, because in the self-forgiveness I'm speaking the words, I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to exist as this, exist as that, define myself as this, define myself as that, believe I am this, believe I am that. I am speaking to myself my realization. I am acting on that realization. I'm acting on what I see in self-honesty. I see that I've allowed myself to hesitate, and so I take corrective application and apply myself with self-forgiveness to release myself from that hesitation. And so then I actually live the change. I actually change me. I actually transcend those things which I'm able to see in self-honesty are not actually who I am. So the only choice exists within personality. Who I am, I'm not able to choose to be, for I am always who I am. The only choice is to continue to exist self-dishonestly within the program of my personality. So I suggest, if you have not already, look at your hesitation, look at your fear, look at your doubt, look at those feelings that arise in any given moment, and ask yourself what those feelings are, and then ask yourself if you really believe you must accept that hesitation and fear. Because there is an adventure to be had. The only true adventure, in fact, is in letting go, is in letting go into the unknown and seeing that the unknown actually is you. The unknown is me. And that what I have known myself to be as personality is not actually who I am at all. And that's fascinating.